Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Spineless Prime Minister is turning the UK into a military pygmy. That is the front page of the Daily Mail, words of Nigel Farage. Iran death toll in the hundreds. That's the front page of the Sunday Times. The Sunday Telegraph, Trump vows to help Iran protesters. And on the other side, Starmer in talks to send troops to Greenland. Oh my goodness, what is going on in 2026? On top of that, Meghan Markle might be coming back to Britain. We've got so much to talk about. I'll see you in 5.
There's just 3 weeks left to grab your chance to win our biggest cash prize to date. An incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours. Cash to make 2026 the year of yes. That's yes to holidays, yes to treats, yes to making all of those dreams come true this year. Just make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good evening, it's 11 o'clock. I'm Alex Armstrong, and this is Alex Armstrong Tonight's late edition coming up.
That is why we've made these defence commitments. We are living in a more volatile world. I think everybody in the country accepts that.
Well, that's the Prime Minister there promising more defence commitments. Meanwhile, on the front page of the Daily Mail, Nigel Farage calls Starmer spineless and a military pygmy over defence spending shortfalls. Plus... President Donald Trump says the US stands ready to help Iranians as protests and violence sweep through the country. With the Sunday Times reporting this: Iran deaths in the hundreds. There we have it. And breaking tonight, the US military carries out large-scale strikes against Islamic State targets across Syria. We'll, of course, keep you updated on that story as we get it. Plus, on the front page of The Sun, Meghan Markle, you know, our favourite princess. over in Montecito. She could be coming back to Britain for the first time in 4 years. Will you be one of the people welcoming her back? There is so much news to dig into tonight, including this story that caught my eye on the front page of the Telegraph. Starmer is in talks to send troops to Greenland. Oh my goodness, what is going on in 2025? Joining me this evening, former special advisor, Tory special advisor, should I say, Lauren McEvitt. Paul Richards is former Labour advisor joining me, and comedian Leo Kearse. And I promise you I'll show you this clip. Can you guess what happens next?
All right, thank you. You'll make it back one way or the other. You're all going to do very well. I think really very well. Marco just gave me a note.
The world's on fire. Listen, you can't go anywhere because there's so much news to talk about. First, we'll get your bulletins with Sophia Wensler.
Thanks, Alex. Your headlines at 11 o'clock. Donald Trump has said he's ready to help Iranians protesting against the regime as Iran faces international condemnation over the killing of anti-government demonstrators. The US president said on Truth Social that Iran was looking at freedom and that the US was ready to help. It comes after reports US government officials are considering striking multiple Iranian military targets. Meanwhile, the US military has carried out multiple strikes in Syria targeting the Islamic State militant group. According to US Central Command, the large-scale strikes were carried out at around 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. At least 29 people have been arrested in Minneapolis during protests over the death of a woman who was shot by a US Immigration and Customs Enforcement agent. The city mayor has urged activists to remain peaceful and not to take the bait from President Trump. Over 1,000 rallies against immigration enforcement are planned across the US after 37-year-old Renee Good was shot in her car on Wednesday. Warnings for snow, ice, wind and rain remain in force this weekend as Britain braces for further wintry weather following Storm Goretti. Tens of thousands of people in England have been left without power and one person has been killed in Cornwall following the severe weather. Those are the latest GB News headlines. Now it's back to Alex.
Welcome to the show. Let's go through your front pages together, shall we? The Mail, let's start there. Spineless Prime Minister is turning UK into military pygmy. The Independent, former Lord Chief Justice tells Prime Minister to fix IPP scandal. The Sun, Meg's summer return. Is Meghan Markle making a comeback to Britain? Do you welcome it? Let me know what you think. The Mirror, we're healing together. The Observer, world without rules. The Express, Kemi, I'll save high streets and kickstart Britain. Sunday Telegraph, Trump vows to help Iran protesters. And the Sunday Times, Iran death toll in the hundreds. And leading the GBNews.com website tonight, we'll find you. US launches revenge strikes against ISIS after terrorists kill 3 Americans. Also on the front page, European Minister offers Keir Starmer one-word solution to tackle the small boats. And finally, how stealth tax risks record church closures as Britain's historic places of worship are at risk. And I'm joined tonight by a fantastic panel. Former Conservative Special Advisor Lauren McEvitt, former Labour Advisor Paul Richards, and comedian Leo Kearse. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Leo. How you doing?
It's good to be here.
It's good to have you back. Should we talk about a spineless Prime Minister?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Are we turning into a military pygmy?
Well, I like the idea of a military pygmy. Having this little African guy with a machine gun, I don't know, could probably do some damage, more damage than Keir Starmer could do. I think this is. I mean, Farage has just said what everybody knows. He's said it out loud. It's not just that we're sort of funneling all our money that could be going to the military to, you know, the welfare and NGO complex. The Starmer's stuck with this idea of the rules-based order, but that needs military might underpinning it. And at the moment, he seems to be more preoccupied with defending Greenland's borders than defending Britain's borders. Like, what's going to be the call to arms if we're going to have, military conscription in the UK, if we're going to, ramp up our military, as we need to, now that, America's pulling out of Europe and not going to be defending us anymore, what's going to be the call to arms? Go overseas to fight men and defend borders that aren't yours, while your own borders are undefended, while you're inviting in, we've got 50,000 Islamists in this country on terror watch lists who could be attacking your wives, attacking your children, while we've got grooming gangs, while we've got, unvetted migrants pouring in every day. I think for a lot of people, they'd rather sort out this country first. And a lot of people will see, the more pressing issue, the more pressing, potential violence, potential damage to them and their families as in this country already.
Yeah, it's quite an attack Nigel Farage has done here on the Prime Minister, Lauren, because Nigel Farage has made this statement. He's condemned Keir Starmer's spineless approach to defence spending. There's a £28 billion shortfall, according to the military, that we need to spend in order to keep up with our promises and our pledges. The reality is we don't have the money. I mean, we're going to have to tax Brits more to pay for this stuff, aren't we? Because the Prime Minister and the government have decided to spend things, I don't know, like carbon capture plants, which cost $20 billion.
We really are. And I think what Leo said is very interesting about the rules-based order thing. Yeah. Because what Keir Starmer harks back to is this international, this sort of mythological international law thing that is so great and so powerful that we were so involved in the creation of. Nuremberg, which is where so many of these laws originate about waging aggressive war and about humanitarian crises and humanitarian crimes, was a military tribunal. It was backed up by a military victory that was then policed by military in a partitioned Berlin for years. The American military are still in Germany. This is not something that can just exist on vibes and whims and, oh, aren't we all nice chaps? This was always backed up by American might. The problem we've got in Europe is that the Americans are turning the taps off. They no longer want to be the backstop sort of militarily to what goes on in Europe. They think it's a bad idea for them. They're not unreasonably concerned by that. They have their own back door in Latin America. That is a fundamentally unstable continent in many ways, and that is proving problematic for them domestically in many of the same ways we're facing domestic problems with migration in this country. They're not unreasonable for saying that, which means that we need to be able to move to the fore. We need to be able to move to the fore, as I mentioned earlier in the programme, about cybersecurity, in addition, which we are putting far too much of the onus on private business rather than on the state. These are state actors we're talking about, not private actors. And we are failing to live up to our promises. And part of the problem with that within the defence industry in the UK, which is massive, is a lot of them, other than like the big four, have already retooled up their factories to be one of the new 6 armaments factories, to be one of the new drone factories. But the government isn't coming through with the money that it's promised, and there's no plan for how to spend it. So these guys are going to have to either start shutting factories down that they were, under UK military rules, obliged to tool up in advance to begin with. They're going to have to start shutting things down, closing things down, laying people off, because the government is delaying and delaying and delaying because it doesn't have the money.
A massive impact on the British economy, but more concerning, Paul, is that the world is now on the move. We've entered 2026 with bombs, fire, revolutions, dictators being taken out, Russia still at war with Ukraine, peace talks trying to happen. The world is now even more dangerous than it ever has been before, and Britain is looking like a second-tier nation, where the previous wars, at least we were a first-tier nation and could defend ourselves from the threat. We don't seem to be able to do that anymore, and I do blame previous governments, by the way, for slicing up the military time and time again and not prioritising them. Do you think the Labour Party need to put a little bit more money into defence than they're already spending?
Well, yes, I said that already. I think the defence budget needs to be significantly greater. Labour helped to found NATO is one of the two things I point to, the NHS and NATO, the two things that Labour government did in 1945, and both have withstood the test of time. And I think now we have to look at our defence spending, but also the militarisation of our society, returning to things like cadets in schools, looking at conscription quite possibly. They've been given this sort of gap year in the military idea that was launched last week, which I think is interesting. But we need to just get back to the idea that British families will have people serving in the armed forces again. Because we just don't have that. Talking of black holes, though, interestingly, I don't know if you read the thing about legal immigration is falling in this country. It's down to the tens of thousands now, where at the point...
net migration, which means more people are leaving, and those aren't necessarily immigrants leaving, those are Brits leaving to go to Dubai and make some actual money.
Right, so the black hole may well be that there aren't enough people to pay tax.
Yeah, well, Paul, you lost me there at the end. I was with you for a lot of it, but I think there's a lot of people paying tax in this country. The problem is this government is determined to get rid of all the wealthy people and close down the businesses by taxing them too much.
And they are leaving, and they're about to pull a fast one on these migration figures. Leo's absolutely right to pull up on the net migration thing. We are losing high earners to places like Dubai,
cheap labour instead.
But we're still bringing in cheap labour, which is not working.
Saying here for years.
And the figures are balancing out, but not in our favour.
Those are people who are going to be dependent on the state. We're bringing in people who are going to cost us money. This is insanity.
Illegal migration.
No, illegal and legal migration.
Let Leo speak. Go on.
Illegal and legal migration both cost us money. Unless you're getting high earners, I mean, there's an argument that can be said that, if you've got a low earner coming in, they're freeing up a high earner to earn more money, generate more wealth for tax. But it's ridiculous. I think at the core of it, we've got a Labour government who are ideologically just aligned with just spaffing money on the welfare state and attacking the military. So prosecuting special forces who've done things in Afghanistan, in the line of duty, had to make split-second decisions and then come home after defending their country, after trying to bring peace and democracy to whatever hellhole part of the world, and getting prosecuted by their own government. What sort of message does that send out to military people, military families?
Exactly. So money is going up, but it's going to lawyers.
Let's let Paul respond. Go on, Paul.
Well, it was my government that put those troops into Afghanistan and Iraq in the first place, against an awful lot of protests, by the way, but I supported both of those military interventions as a special advisor at the time. And we do stand by veterans and we do support the military.
What about the prosecutions for special forces?
Well, I think they have to be looked at very carefully, but I don't think that that's an argument that says we're against the military, because we're not. And we're putting more money into defence too. And by the way, if we do spend more money on defence, which I think we should, it does have an impact on economic growth. It does actually stimulate growth.
Not if the money never leaves the Treasury, which is what we currently have a position.
Well, that's why
the money's not actually being agreed upon and leaving.
I mean, the Tories left us virtually defenceless after 14 years.
So companies are tooling up and unable to actually do anything with it because no purchasing is being done by main building.
In fact, Norway and other countries seem to be doing more to bolster our defence industries by buying ships from our shipyards.
Well, thank goodness. And we'll just briefly go before we move on. Let's just briefly go to the front page of the Sunday Telegraph, because thank goodness, in some ways, all this craziness is making our governments who have... And who, I think, Paul, you're right to say the Tory government did leave us practically defenceless. They kept on cutting back. See the state of some of our armed forces, our military bases. It's a disaster, right? The good thing about all this madness is we're starting to go, oh, who's going to defend us if it all kicks off? Oh, wait, it's us, right? Wake up call. America's not coming to save us. Daddy's not coming. We've got to grow up and get out of the house. Leo, this is the thing, isn't it? Starmer in talks to send troops to Greenland. Starmer in talks to send troops to Ukraine. We don't have the capacity for it. He's living in cuckoo.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's no way Britain can fight Russia and fight America. I mean, like Hitler couldn't manage that. You know what I mean? At the height of the German military empire. You know what I mean? We can't have two fronts.
Starmer's a man who's never played Risk in his life.
This is
That's
insane.
second front. It's dangerous.
This isn't the Falklands. We're not taking on, Argentina in the early 80s. This is America right now. So it's not going to happen. And I think Greenland is going to go voluntarily to the USA. The Greenland officials.
I don't think so. They've just voted in another. They're about to vote in another government that is 45%. There's some polling I read this week that said that everybody was against it. Everybody is in favour.
Trump's going to come in. He's going to say
healthcare.
Trump's going to come in.
Trump's
going to come in. He's going to say, "Do you want $5 million each and a green card?" Who'd resist that? You can move to Miami.
I resist it even at this point in time, Leo. Go on, Paul.
Scotland next, baby.
Yeah. Why not?
It's strategically important. If it keeps the S&P out, I might be in favour of it, frankly.
Let's talk.
We've still got some oil.
Greenland is, though. It is actually part of NATO. There is a US base there already. He can deploy as many troops as he likes.
There's loads of US bases there. There's actually not just one. There's several.
Invade it, in inverted commas. It's already part of the NATO alliance.
I do want to come back to this.
Listen, getting quick and tell him.
I can't remember who was talking about conscription. I think it was you, Paul. And I want to come back to this because I don't know how most of the country feel about this. I think you've done what I think is a very morally good thing to do, which says to your kids, you know, if you want to serve your country, you're going to have to do it. Sorry about that. A lot of people will disagree with you because I think the point I was trying to get at was coming back to you, Leo, on this, because you've made some comments about this before, I think. Do Brits feel that the country's worth fighting for? When they see a 100-year-old veteran go on mainstream TV and say, I wouldn't fight for Britain today, how do you think young people feel?
Well, and also Britain doesn't exist. We've got a patchwork of ethnic enclaves. We've got a balkanised country. So, you know, are the Jews going to want to fight for the Islamists in Birmingham who wanted to kill them after a football match? Are the Islamists in Birmingham going to want to fight for the Jews? Yeah. We've got all these different people, you know, the Hindus and the Muslims fighting in Leicester. We've imported all these conflicting tribal tensions from overseas, and we're not Britain anymore. We're not the Britain of World War I or World War II.
Well, you mentioned World War II. It's interesting, isn't it? In the 30s, when that famous debate took place in the Oxford Union, and the motion was, would you fight for king and country? The young people said, no, we won't. 3-4 years later, they stepped up in the realities of that situation.
Yeah, but you ask the question now, they won't even understand the question because they don't speak English.
And they became the greatest generation. So I think, you know, as things change, I think young people will fight for their country.
Lauren, what do you think? Would you fight for Britain?
Would I fight for Britain? Yeah. Absolutely. I've served my country by working for the government. You know, this is, absolutely.
It's a bit different, though, you know, being a
I'm also conscious that I am a woman, B, 39 years old, and these knees are not what they used to be. Yeah. And therefore, my current use might be not great.
That sounds like a lot of excuses, Lauren. We're putting you down for the front line. How does the front line sound?
But if asked, then yeah, I would.
The front line of Greenland. Beautiful country. All right. Sorry, I'm losing it now. This is what happens when you're on air for 5 hours. Right, listen, we've got loads more to talk about. Should we yeah, a little bit. Should we talk about the front page of The Sun very shortly? Because I want to know, and I know some of you are going to go, oh, Alex, why are you talking about these horrid people? The Duchess of Sussex is plying a trip to the UK, apparently, and I want to know whether you think you should be allowed back into the country and then allowed security off the back of it. But in the meantime, hang on, we'll get yourself a cup of tea, because it's time now for the Great British Giveaway, and it's your chance to win our biggest prize, cash prize to date. It's incredible, 85 grand, but you've got to be in the draw to make it yours. Here's all the details.
There's just 3 weeks left to grab your chance to win our biggest cash prize to date. An incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours. Cash to make 2026 the year of yes. That's yes to holidays, yes to treats, yes to making all of those dreams come true this year. What would you spend all of that cash on? 2026 could be the year you spend more time spending, with an incredible £85,000 in your bank. Just make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 9th of February. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
You will.
Well, we'll talk about that later, Lauren. Coming up, I'll be telling you how Rachel Reeves will tax changes could force British churches to close, and possibly more of my salary by the sounds of it. This is Alex Armstrong tonight, Lego Edition.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Well, here at Holbrook Animal Rescue, they're being forced to relocate, and if they can't find a suitable alternative, they'll even be at risk of closing. And I've seen the amazing work that they've done here. Just earlier we met a dog called Essie who has just found her almost possible forever home literally in the time that we were here. She only came here a couple of days ago, so it's really great work that they do for all animals. Like this one here, this is Torn, he's just a puppy, and I'm also joined by Laura Santini, who runs the shelter. Tell us a bit about Torn here.
So this is just a little fellow that came in, no fault of his own. The people just couldn't cope with him. So he's lively, and he's a half shepherd, half Labrador.
What kind of impact would the possible relocation or even closure have on dogs like this one and all the other animals you have here?
Well, simply that we wouldn't be able to take them. So if the next one comes up like this and we've got nowhere to go, then we just can't take them, obviously. So what happens to them at that point, I don't know, because we don't just take beautiful pups like this. We take the old and the sick and the dogs that other people don't necessarily want to take. So I can't imagine what would happen to some of them. So I don't know. It's sad. It's just a sad situation.
And you've had quite a lot of support from the community here in trying to relocate. What's been there for you in terms of support?
They're absolutely incredible. They've sent 1,000 letters into the council to try and support us and help us and let everyone see the light that, you know, you do actually need animal sanctuaries around. You can't shut them all down. We're always getting phone calls saying how much people like what we do and hope we get our plan in appeal when it goes through and things like that.
GB News, the People's Channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Well, GB News understands that campaigners are urging the Labour government to make a grant scheme for churches permanent. They cite the worrying trend of churches shutting their doors and the need to protect our national heritage. Hear, hear. A looming stealth tax could see the number of churches falling into a state of disrepair accelerated when a cap brought in by Rachel Reeves last April takes effect. Well, under the scheme, money claimed back for renovation will be capped at 25 grand. This comes as bodies such as the National Churches Trust is leading a campaign to stop the worrying trend that has seen over 3,500 churches close in the last decade. And with me to discuss this issue is Pastor and Affinity Director Graham Nichols. Graham, thank you so much for joining me this evening. Churches not only, of course, are falling into disrepair, but we've seen them come under attack in many parts of the world, in Britain particularly. How important is this campaign to churches staying open?
I think it would be a good thing if the scheme continues, where there's that kind of VAT relief, which all helps in terms of renovations and so on. I mean, the big picture is the church is actually doing pretty well in this country at the moment. There are people flocking back to churches. Bible sales went up. There's just a report just come out about that. So we're not sort of feeling in that sense, you know, highly vulnerable. But those church buildings need renovation. They're part of our heritage. I mean, it's an absolute kind of fascinating spectacle that all over the country, in villages and big towns, you've got these pretty amazing architectural features in those places, and so I think they're kind of worth preserving for that reason. But you know, lots of churches both do good stuff in the community and preach the gospel and tell people about Jesus and the new life that comes through him. So they're doing a fantastic job. They're doing loads of youth work. They're doing food banks and other stuff. So you know, why not give them a little bit of help? Because lots of organisations get help from the taxpayer. And,
that's true.
They're part of our heritage.
That's true. I mean, churches, the Christian faith is the backbone of British law, legislation, so many things. This renovation cap, this 25 grand renovation cap, some of our churches date back, the church near where my parents live, to the Norman invasion. You know, this is the kind of history that is in our churches, and it plays such a crucial role in our history. Do you think the British government are a bit selective when they pick the millions pledged to mosques and to Jewish places of faith as well? Do you think perhaps we need to do more? Do you think the government needs to step in a little bit more to save the heritage of churches, particularly many that have been attacked as well?
There's a little bit of a feeling that sometimes whether it's the government or this government or any government or civil service or something, are not always persuaded of the community benefit of the church, the public benefit. So there's been little campaigns by humanist societies to say, let's stop giving churches charitable status because they're not really a community benefit. If you think about how many organisations are allowed to be charities, it seems ludicrous that the churches are kind of denied that. So it is part of a feeling, but at the same time we're feeling pretty encouraged actually, because lots of people are coming to church, so it's not like the arguments are necessarily winning. And I think lots of people are kind of looking back on our heritage and thinking we need something solid to hold on to because we're a bit confused about who we are. And part of that is the church building in the village and so on. Now, fundamentally, you can't cling to a building for your whole kind of identity. You need something more solid than that. But they can be a place where the message is preached and where the message is lived out. I'm not absolutely devastated. If this tax changes, I'm more interested in what the churches actually preach. But I think, as a matter of principle, giving churches a bit of a leg up, given their significant impact on our history, is not a bad thing at all.
Certainly agree with you, Graham. Thank you very much for coming on the show. Pastor and Affinity Director there, Graham Nichols. Pleasure to have you. Let's get the thoughts of my panel here. Paul, I'll start with you. These churches have been relying on this scheme, I believe, since 2001, if I'm right.
It was Gordon Brown, I think.
Yes, it was. I was about to say. It was a good scheme. Now, this is the first time that this scheme will be pulled out, the rug will be pulled underneath of churches. Are we prioritising other political matters ahead of things like churches?
Well, I'm persuaded of two arguments. One is the benefit of the church community in society and the good works that they do, of course, and I'm also persuaded of the need to maintain treasures of architecture, some of which, as you say, go back to the Norman conquest. But I would also gently point out that the church is one of the richest institutions in our land. They're one of the biggest landowners. They have investments up to 11 billion in terms of property. It's an incredibly rich institution. So I think actually at a time of, cost of living crisis and all that, then maybe they just need to invest some of their own money in some of these failing churches.
I actually agree with Paul on that. I mean, the state's only got a certain amount of money, and I think it gets wasted on so much stuff. And I'd rather see people in this country pay lower taxes. And if the church is growing, then fine, you can pay for it with the profits on your attendances or selling hymn sheets or whatever it is. But I don't think people should be taxed to subsidise churches. And I think our Christian. I'm a Christian, but like a proper Christian, not a Church of England Christian. I think our Christian heritage is obviously fantastic and a backbone to this country, and also something that people are returning to now that they see the danger this country is in.
Some countries have a church tax, but it's voluntary, which is quite an interesting model. So if you are a Christian and you want to buy into it, you can volunteer into it, but it shouldn't be everyone having to pay if they don't want to.
Great system.
There you go, Lauren.
I think that these are historic buildings. We have an established church within England, and therefore, if we were going to Barnetise it to exclude the Scottish and Welsh disestablished churches, that's something we should probably look at. But the established church is a state religion in England, and as a result, I think we should support it. However, I take the point that Paul made about the money. I would say that having 50 billion or whatever it is he said in assets, including buildings, those buildings need to be maintained. That's an asset, that's the building itself. The money doesn't come from the building to maintain the building. But what I would say is the church is currently creating an endowment fund of £100 million to pay slavery reparations, which 81% of the Church of England disagrees with, because that's money that was supposed to be earmarked for parishes. Right. And that's where the Save the Parish movement is coming from. Because where we see increases in church attendance, it's in city centres, it's with young people. Where we see decreases, it's in rural parishes, which have not had enough investment, where we have these flying vicars who cover off 4 parishes within one and rotate week on week on week between each parish. This money was supposed to go there and instead being diverted to a fund, the historical accuracy of which is severely questioned by historians. It's a lot of money. They have the option to take it up to £1 billion, and it's based on what appears to be absolute cobblers, and 81% of people questioned think that this is bad.
Yeah, this is the thing, right? I mean, I love going to see our churches. The other problem I sort of a bit conflicted by is because I walk somewhere like St Paul's Cathedral. I'm like, why am I paying to walk into a church? Isn't this against the entire point of the faith? Why am I paying to go into Canterbury Cathedral? Surely I should just be able to walk into these places. That's why they were built. So on one hand, I'm like, yes, we need to save them. They are so critical. I hate seeing churches knocked down. I hate seeing churches converted into many different things. And I see that as critical to, at least if a new generation does want to embody...
It's because the Church of England isn't actually circulating money well enough. So if you'd like to walk into St Paul's and have the roof fall on you, walk in for free.
No,
But at the moment, that's what is being financed.
If there's going to be reparations paid, then the church, instead of paying reparations to wherever overseas, they should go to where the Barbary slave trade occurred and have another crusade and take reparations from there and give it to the British people.
That was a different church, let's be clear. The Crusades were the Catholic Church, obviously, and the Church of England was
the proper church.
The Crusades. So I think the Church of England going crusading would be slightly against what we've stood for all these years.
Paul, I think it's time. Do you fancy a crusade, Paul?
No.
Can we do the conscription for
I always
the
ask the question in case you get an interesting answer.
Well,
you never know.
I've got my
You never
notes
know.
here. I've got my lines from number 10. It doesn't say whether we support the Crusades.
Right.
But no answer on Crusades.
Fabians don't support Crusades, then. We know that. That's one thing that we can rule out. Right, listen, Department of Digital Culture, Media and Sports spokesperson said this. They listed places of worship are important to faith communities and provide a range of hugely valuable services to the wider public. Many of them are also architecturally and historically significant. In recognition of this, last year the government extended the listed places of worship grant scheme until March 31st, 2026. All right, coming up, Trump strikes ISIS in Syria. Protests ramp up in Iran, and there's backlash. Multiple protests happening in Minneapolis after the fatal shooting from an ICE officer is hotting up across the nation. It's all kicking off. It's kicking off everywhere, not just in America, everywhere. And we'll be getting an inside scoop from Washington. This is Alex Armstrong Tonight, late edition.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
Strong winds are expected across eastern parts of the Mediterranean at the moment. Meanwhile, heavy rain will affect parts of Turkey into Cyprus as well. This system is gradually moving away, so it's going to dry up across Greece and the Greek islands early next week. A few showers eastern parts of Italy, otherwise plenty of fine weather, and Spain's looking reasonable. Sunny spells, average temperatures. Likewise for the Canaries, plenty of fine weather to come during the days ahead.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
Hello there, welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. A very unsettled 24 hours through the night into Sunday. Heavy rain, some snow and ice and some strong and gusty winds developing. All because of a change of weather type. We're losing the blues on the map. The cold weather we've seen all week being replaced by Atlantic weather systems, milder air, but an increasing risk of strong winds and heavy rain. And heavy rain pushing in across Northern Ireland, Western Scotland with some strong and gusty winds. Met Office warnings out here. And as that weather system bumps up against the cold air, parts of Scotland, Northern England seeing the risk of some heavy snow, some icy conditions developing. Cold in the southeast, but staying dry here with some frost and ice to start Sunday morning. But a very unsettled start across parts of Scotland. An amber snow warning out here. We could see 20 to 30 30 centimetres of snow falling over the next 24 hours. Also heavy rain, and that becoming increasingly a feature as we go through the day, leading to the risk of flooding. Rain across Northern Ireland, a mix of rain, sleet and snow for parts of northern England. Some of this will be icy and lead to some tricky travelling conditions. Rain across Wales and the West Country as well. And Sunday itself will be a wet day, a windy day, gusts of 60, 70 miles an hour across parts of Scotland in particular, but milder air pushing in through the day, so the snow turning back to rain by the afternoon. Eventually still some snow over the high ground, and those temperatures really rising, 11 or 12 Celsius across the far west. Still cold in the east, 3 or 4 degrees. And then a low pressure system could give some very strong and gusty winds Sunday night into Monday morning across parts of Northern Ireland, northwest Scotland, but this eventually clearing, and the day ahead looks like a mixture of areas of cloud and rain, and generally milder for all, and it generally stays unsettled into next week. Further spells of rain at times, but staying on the mild side.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk
No,
now?
that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
All right, welcome back. And there's no better time to go to The Late Show Live, of course, which is coming up at midnight, because Ben Leo is joining me right now, live from Washington. Yes, he's been back on a plane. He's over there right now. Ben, are you there? Yeah, there he is. There he is. Ben, the world has gone mad, hasn't it? 2026, what a time. We've got Trump saying he's happy to support, vowing to support Iranians. He's just bombed Syria. He captured dictator Maduro just last week. We've now got Starmer wanting to send troops to Greenland. What's going on, mate? Give us the inside scoop here.
Yeah, he's going to be taking Greenland next, and Minneapolis is burning, and yeah, it's all going on, isn't it? Everyone just seems to have had a bit too much to drink over Christmas, I think, and they're feeling the effects early January. Yeah, there's so much going on. Actually, what epitomises the absolute chaos is, I'm not sure if you as listeners are aware, but on X, formerly Twitter, there's an account called the Pentagon Pizza Report. Basically, yes. Long story short, it tracks the pizza footfall in stores such as Domino's, Papa John's, DC Pizza, other brands available. It tracks the customer footfall in and out of the pizza joints around the Pentagon, with the Pentagon, of course, being the centre of defence for America. So whenever there's a spike in footfall, as there was this morning, this Twitter account posted that Domino's traffic was 300% up on normal hours. It suggests something is happening militarily because people who work at the Pentagon are staying late, they're working on an operation and they're getting pizza in. Anyway, hours after the pizza tracker said that Domino's was up 300%, we saw news of all these US aircraft, US Air Force aircraft heading towards Syria. So we had the Syria strikes just hours ago, the United States hitting back against Syria again. There's talks now, of course, about Iran. Could Iran be next on President Trump's list? It just goes on and on. So we're getting stuck into that tonight. And of course, the latest, Alex, on the, again, the domestic chaos in Minneapolis following the shooting of that mother of three by ICE.
Yeah, but Ben, it's quite shocking to see so much go on at one time, particularly, of course, this is all surrounding the United States of America, isn't it? Because this is Trump's actions in Syria and other places. Do we now brace ourselves for Trump to engage in Iran? Is that word on the street in Washington, D.C.?
I think so, because there's reports tonight from sort of charities. I think charities is the wrong word. There's an organisation called Iran International, which is a Norwegian-based organisation, which is on the ground in Iran, tracking the number of protester deaths and the killing. We have been reporting, like other media organisations in recent days, that it's something like 48, maybe it's 50. I think the front page of the Telegraph today said it's in the 50s now. This organisation on the ground in Iran suggests that the actual death toll is more than 2,000, and the bodies are piling up as well. There's first-hand accounts of people in hospitals with just bodies piling up from protesters. President Trump said yesterday in the White House during the meeting with the oil executives, he said to Iran, any more shooting happens, if any more killing happens, we'll start shooting as well. So do you know what? It wouldn't surprise me, even tonight on the Late Show Live, if we see some sort of American intervention in Iran. There's suggestion that it could be military complexes, similar to the nuclear strikes, the nuclear facility strikes we saw last year with the B-2 bombers. America sent 3 B-2 bombers to Iran on that occasion, Alex, to strike those nuclear sites. Since then, America's ordered another 52, I think, B-2 bombers, or at least 30 off the top of my head. Of course, they're not ready yet, but it just shows that America is now back in business militarily, back in business with its reputation, and it ain't taking any nonsense from anyone.
Indeed. Ben, what else is coming up on your show?
What else is coming up? Boris Johnson has penned a pretty decent column in the Daily Mail saying that nobody realises, again, we're talking about Trump, nobody realises President Trump is actually trying to save the West by doing all this military intervention. Venezuela linked to Iran, sleeper cells all across the West, America, United Kingdom, of course. So we'll be looking at that. And also Greenland as well. Keir Starmer is talking about putting British boots on the ground in Greenland. However, the caveat is not to defend against America. It would be to try and reassure President Trump that the NATO, Europe, the EU, is taking seriously the threat of Russia and China. The big question is, though, is it really about Russia and China, Greenland, or is it about the absolute swathes, the hordes of rare earth minerals which Greenland holds, and of course the oil as well? Greenland home to about 70% of the world's rare earth, so maybe that's more of interest to President Trump amongst rather than anything else.
It's going to be a brilliant show tonight, Ben. I can feel it's all bubbling over there. I'm so glad you're back in DC to give us all of the inside scoops over there. Thank you, Ben. We will see you in just 20 minutes or so. I've also got my panel here with me. It seems like 2026 is America's year almost already. It started off, we can't get America out of our mouths, and I don't think it's just Britain talking about America. I suspect this is across the entire world talking about what America's doing. Interesting here, maybe we'll talk about this, the front page of The Observer, because they've sort of lent into this a little bit in some ways, I guess. They've got ICE on the front there, of course, domestic stuff happening in America. They've got Jack Straw on the Ayatollah's last stand. Of course, America has said it stands ready to help the Iranian people. And of course, not that long ago, we've got Rachel Sylvester on the not-so-special relationship, which does seem to be the case. Margaret Macmillan on what if Trump invades Canada? That's another one. We haven't even spoke about that. Isabel Coles on Trump wants to own Greenland. I mean, this is interesting, isn't it, Leo? Because this is maybe a new world we're entering in.
Yeah, and to be honest, I mean, I love a lot of the stuff that Trump's done. I mean, when he bombed Iran, it was just the sort of spectacle and the cinema of it. And the same with Venezuela, and just, that sort of showcase of absolute military power and the technology and techniques to be able to go in and black bag a head of state. But what sort of precedents does it set for the future? We haven't really seen countries. I can't think of a country apart from, like North Korea that's actually, made an attack on a head of state. There's this sort of unwritten agreement. It's like the mafia. You don't take out a capo, So,
well, remember, he was an illegitimate head of state. He lost an election and didn't leave. That is the caveat that'll be made here, is he's not legitimately a head of state.
That's a fair point, but then, there's a lot of people around the world that could be seen as the same. And, what if people start trying to take out Western heads of state? I mean, it wouldn't be too difficult.
Russia's been trying with Ukraine for 2 years now. They tried outside Ireland.
Yeah, but a militarily militarily competent country against
Let me tell you the amount of social commentary I've seen of people saying, please take Keir Starmer away from us. Like, that's the kind of level people are at now. Like, this is the bonkers world we live in 2026. I keep saying 2025. Sorry, I do apologise. I said it at the top of the show as well. Do apologise. I haven't caught up yet, as you can tell.
It's interesting that just as Iran shuts off its internet so that, you know, the opponents and critics of the regime can't criticise the regime, Starmer does the same thing. Starmer's like, oh, we've got to shut down Twitter. Oh, we'll find an excuse. Oh, what, there's some bikinis on there? Yeah, that'll do. We're like, shut down Twitter. It's a nonsense. But the end of the rules-based world order does mean that, you know, might is right, which isn't going to mean you're going to have, like, the strong allies of America and the West that you used to have. And, you know, in the Pacific and, you know, all around the world, people are going to be thinking, well, should I ally with China? Should I ally with Russia? Because these guys don't really have any morals or principles. They just want to... Might is right for them.
And this is the sad truth, isn't it, Paul, is that no one's going, oh, I better ally with Britain. I better ally with the EU. We're not even in the equation, are we? This is a big problem for the continent. It's a big problem for Britain that no one really cares what we do or what we think.
Well, I don't want to be a terrible old square, but I do actually believe in international alliances, the rule of law internationally.
But whether you believe it doesn't. But okay, so no, I respect that. I respect that.
There's a better alternative to that, actually.
I respect that, Paul. But my point is this: is that a fantasy rather than a reality?
Well, when we, in the 30s, look at the collapse of the League of Nations, right, because international rules-based law, you know, collapsed in that period, what came next was the worst thing any of us can imagine.
But it collapsed because of the failure of the League of Nations to do anything.
Right, exactly that, because strongmen emerged and started invading each other.
But is that not proving what I'm saying, which is that these toothless organisations who have no power, that have only worked because America has been the dominant superpower for the last 80 years.
Been financing all this time, because most of what's going on in the UN, you saw this week, additionally, the US pull out of a whole load of multilateral organisations, including the one that provides the secretariat to the UN Women's Group, which had just been taken over by Qatar. Like, there's an awful lot about the UN that isn't working, because the international rules-based stuff protects as many bad players as it supports good players. And, you know, the might is right thing. China's been mighting itself around the world for years. Russia's been mighting itself around the world for years. We're just catching up to the realpolitik of how the world's really working and saying, do you know what? No more. This system isn't working. We were the only ones obeying the rules. Gloves are off.
OK, well, listen, talking of another invasion, Meghan Markle might be coming back to Britain. There we go. Maybe we need to militarise ourselves for that. I'm just joking, of course. Coming up, the Times has revealed that new wind farms were handed billion-style operations because the UK's creaking grid couldn't cope with the energy they generated. What a disaster. That's next.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk
No,
now?
that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show. It's not a bad brand. Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very, very easy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Welcome back. And what do you think about the Sussexes? Do you love them? Do you hate them? Well, apparently they're coming back on the front page of The Sun. Meghan Markle, I think she pledged never to return. I don't know, was it something like that? Maybe I'm making that up. But something of the kind, at least. Maybe until the security thing was sorted, I don't know. But Meg's summer return. The Duchess of Sussex is planning to return to Britain in July for the first time in 4 years. Meghan is due to join hubby, H, as she calls him, Harry, at an Invictus Games event in Birmingham if their security is approved. She's only going to go to that veterans charity event if she gets her taxpayer-funded security. Leo?
Yeah, and I mean, Meghan and Harry haven't been having the best time since they left. I mean, they did the Netflix stuff and the podcast. A lot of those business deals seem to be falling through, except for her cooking show, which has people tuning in just because of the bizarreness of it. Just to see her arranging, like, crudités on a plate with opening a can of, like, supermarket hummus as if that's, you know, Heston Blumenthal level. It's insane. And they're going through staff at a rate of knots. Yeah. You know, I mean, I've been with the same hairdresser for, 12 years, and they're, they can't, all the stylists, publicists, everything.
Don't tell them who it is, they'll want to hire him.
There's allegations of bullying, is all I'm going to say. And I can well believe it. It's the cry bullies that are the worst.
Well, there we go. You've been dying to talk about this all evening, Lauren. What do you think about it?
I don't care. I have absolutely no views, and it's expensive to provide security. They walked away. They don't get it anymore. This is kind of a suck it up type thing for them. The Invictus Games is a whole lot of vets. There's going to be great security at it anyway.
True, that's a good point. No better place to be secure.
It's a bit like saying, well, I'm only going to come back and do the balcony shot if I get security. It's like, well, that's the most secure place in the universe right now. But I find it really hard to care about them, which is exactly what they wanted. I was saying to you earlier, my favourite part about this whole story was South Park doing the little talking heads of, we want our privacy. It's like, no, they don't. They just want press of a different colour.
Paul, what do you have to say?
Well, I'm a resident of Sussex, and they bring great shame on our county. It's a shame.
Shame on you. Shame on your cow.
I would say, I think she married into this family thinking it was something different. I think it was going to be like a Disney princess kind of thing, and she didn't realise there was this incredible work ethic, this element of public
and
service,
hierarchy that she was not going to be at the top of.
And boring events that you have to attend, and charitable dinners, and I think that none of that was explained or properly understood.
Does she not have Google?
Yeah, right. Well, maybe not. But when it turned out to not to be a fairy tale princess thing, then we went back to the States.
Well, listen, you can see on the front page on the left-hand side, there's another broken British family here, because the Telegraph's also reporting this. There's a rift at the heart of the Beckham family has escalated because Brooklyn Beckham is said to have sent his parents, David and Victoria, a legal notice requesting all contact go through his lawyers. Of course, the move follows claims he blocked his family on social media despite a series of extended olive branches from his parents in December after liking his Instagram post and insisting the door remains open to their beloved eldest son. This is just absolutely pathetic. I hate this more than Harry and Meghan.
I know, I was going to say.
I hate them more.
This is like Harry and Meghan, but if you buy them off Temu.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
it's true. It's true.
They should have disowned him after the elephant picture.
Yeah, but this...
They would have saved themselves a lot of grief. This kid is like the worst performing Nepo baby in the world. They could have saved themselves a lot of heartbreak cutting him off after the stupid elephant picture.
I mean, David Beckham is a god in our house. I should just and I think it is tragic when families fall out. Like
it
this.
is.
It's really, really sad. It's the pressure of celebrity and money and all of that, but it's still, at the end of it, there is a human element to this.
It's even more tragic when they fall out over Instagram. I mean, I just can't imagine falling out with family over Instagram.
And also, Posh and Beck seem like a nice couple, you know?
I tried to read an article on this the other day, and for the life of me, I can't work out any kind of timeline that explains what has happened here.
And
after about 3.5 minutes, I decided I don't care.
Apparently the fallout's to do with her wedding, Nicole Peltz's wedding dress. Again, just
did Victoria Beckham also show up in white?
I don't know.
Did she want to design it? Is that what it's about?
Listen, this is the thing. It's just all these family stories. It's like Broken Britain in a nutshell, isn't it? It's just like we can all relive our childhood through watching these people at some point in time. We've all got that brother that we don't want exiled to some island somewhere. We've all got that parent. Yeah, it's a very complicated one, I will tell you that. But before we get into that, let's go through the front pages one more time. The Daily Mail. Spineless PM is turning UK into military pygmy. The Independent. Former Lord Chief Justice tells PM to fix IPP scandal. The Sun. Meg's summer return. The Mirror. We're healing together. The Observer. World without rules. Kemi. I'll save the high streets and kickstart Britain. The Sunday Telegraph. Trump vows to help Iran protesters. The Sunday Times, Iran death toll in the hundreds. It's been, I tell you what, for this is the third show of 2026. I have to say, you're going to be in for some spectacular shows over the next few months, because it doesn't look like the world is going to slow down, does it?
This year started with a bang.
It really has. It really has. Listen, Paul, Lauren, Leo, thank you all so much. Absolute pleasure. I'll be back tomorrow night, 9 o'clock, for more news you don't see anywhere else in Britain. That's all we've got time for. Up next is The Late Show Live, hosted by Ben Leo.
Thank you, Alex. It's kicking off royally tonight, stateside and all around the world. We could be, I think, maybe hours away, potentially in this show tonight, from America getting involved again in Iran. Reports on the ground suggest more than 2,000 people have died, which is a massive, massive increase on the 50-odd that's been reported in recent days. Elsewhere, Minneapolis also risks burning to the ground again. Big protests off the back of the ICE killing, and as well, ISIS has been struck again in Syria. See you in just a sec.
There's just 3 weeks left to grab your chance to win our biggest cash prize to date. An incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours. Cash to make 2026 the year of yes. That's yes to holidays, yes to treats, yes to making all of those dreams come true this year. Just make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.